Popping out. Let's get it in
What's
here. Let's
up?
get it in. We're in here, man. The people are coming in. They're coming in. We got breaking news, and you're gonna have to hit us with breaking news. And what I want you to do,
Yo,
this is your.
yo. We got breaking news, and I love this story. This is so fantastic. Hold on, let me get to the beginning of my notes because UMG is firing back at Drake, and I'm so not mad. You know, whoever is in the UMG uh, legal department and writing this shit, they
They
got a sense
petty.
of humor.
Yeah, they
They're petty.
hilarious.
They got a sense of humor. They're coming hard. Plaintiff, I'm reading. This is a quote. Plaintiff, one of the most successful recording artists of all time, lost a rap battle that he provoked and in which
Oh,
he willingly participated. Instead of accepting the loss like the unbothered rap artist he often claims to be, he has sued his own record label in a misguided attempt to salve his
no,
wounds.
hold it right there. Let's stay right there, cause that's fucking amazing. You're right about yo. He said you claim to be all nonchalant and you don't care, but you had to battle. You just had to battle this nigga Kendrick. Why'd you battle Kendrick? That's
You claim to be
hilarious.
unbothered. You are
Claim
extraordinarily bothered, sir.
very much bothered. That's an amazing. Well, I
Lost
read
a
it somewhere.
Who's the rap fan in the legal department who's like, you lost a rap battle that you provoked, bitch?
You lost that. We all know you lost this shit too. Like we know. But keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Okay, wait. So he says UMG went on to argue that Drake issued his own incendiary statements toward Kendrick during the battle, including accusations that he's physically abusive to his partner and that his business partner might be the father of one of K. Dot's children. However, Drake's hyperbolic insults and vitriolic allegations simply didn't engage the public like Kendrick's did. Relitigating the battle from the legal office.
That is funny as fuck.
You just weren't as good at it as
Relitigating.
he was.
That's actually funny. You relitigate the whole battle so everybody know. Look, you said some bullshit, and then the shit that he said everybody agree with. So I mean, that's nothing to do with us. That's all you. Like you started.
You should
You
have said
started.
better bullshit, and then you wouldn't be suing at this
These
point.
are the pettiest lawyers ever.
Drake has been pleased to use UMG's platform to promote tracks leveling similarly incendiary attacks at Lamar. But now, after losing the rap battle, Drake claims Not Like Us is defamatory. It is not.
It is not.
That there must be a rap fan in the department. Diss
Someone
tracks
knows.
are a popular and celebrated art form centered around outrageous insults, and they would be severely chilled if Drake's suit were permitted to proceed. Hyperbolic and metaphorical language is par for the course in diss tracks. Indeed, Drake's own diss tracks employed imagery at least as violent. But they're making the case that the art form itself requires these sort of songs. So you can't help Drake with this lawsuit because you would be hurting the entire genre. Like, who is making this argument that like the culture
People that
needs
know
to
what's good.
fail?
But the thing is, there's enough content on the internet from us and everybody giving the lawyers enough information to be able to just run that shit through Chat GPT and spew this shit out. Like it's not like we've said this, and we've already said that in our first lawsuit video, and when we were talking with Curtis that like this, like trying to prove defamation is ridiculously hard. First of all, and then defamation within art, that's crazy. Like it's just not gonna work.
So they also note that Drake was part of the 2022 petition, which argued against rap lyrics being used in court
Yup.
because it recognized that is quite often purposefully hyperbolic. As Drake recognized, this is in the lawsuit, as Drake recognized, when it comes to rap, the final work is a product of the artist's vision and imagination. Drake was right then in the 2022 petition and is wrong now. The complaints, unjustified claims against UMG are no more than Drake's attempt to save face for his unsuccessful rap battle with Lamar. The court should dismiss the complaint. You lost. And now you're embarrassed, so you're suing because you're embarrassed. And that's fucking true. That's what's really going on here.
That's exactly what's going on here. And it's also funny as shit just to think about, like, this whole team being able to just say this shit is like, you lost. The confirmation of you lost from your own label is hilarious. You lost. Okay, I know that you mad, but you just lost. Why are you mad? Stop crying about it. You get over it.
UMG said to Drake, you are embarrassed that you lost. You are suing us because you're bad. You should have been better. You said the same shit. You should have just said it better. Now shut the fuck up and get back in the booth.
And why did you switch up? It's like, when it comes to this legal stuff, you were all about making sure that people couldn't use rap lyrics in court systems and all that. And now you're switching up and saying that we need to start policing lyrics and policing how people talk to because, it hurt your feelings and you lost. The point of the thing is you lost.
Drake's attorney had a response. UMG wants to pretend that this is about a rap battle in order to distract its shareholders, artists, and the public from a simple truth. A greedy company is finally being held responsible for profiting from dangerous misinformation that has already resulted in multiple acts of violence. This motion is a desperate ploy by UMG to avoid accountability, but we have every confidence that this case will proceed and continue to uncover UMG's long history of endangering and abusing its artists. Whatever.
That might not be wrong. I mean, let's be real here. Is that a wrong statement that's coming from Drake's camp? No.
Is it wrong?
Probably not. Is it a wrong statement that UMG said that you lost and you crying about it? No. They both right.
I mean, UMG has done things to artists that were wrong. They are correct about that.
They're a major conglomerate. Of course they have. What are we talking about? Like, the role of a label is to completely the R word the artist. That's not what it's for.
We understand what you were saying, the way you said it. I got you. Point taken. Now you made me forget what I was going to say. This lawsuit is not about addressing that. I wish it was. I wish this was the number one artist in the game, the biggest recording artist in the game, is saying, you have bullshit contracts and we're going to go to court and we're finally going to have it out where the artists are standing up to the labels and saying, we deserve fair contracts. And there's all these ways that contracts are horrific for artists. I wish this was that. This is not that. This is what UMG is saying. You are embarrassed that you lost and now you're suing. This is a wealthy man's temper tantrum.
3,000%. Because if this wasn't about your own ego, just put me in Drake's shoes. If I was Drake, like I'm talking about, I have his successes, I have his skill sets. Like I'm literally Drake. It's just my brain, right? I'm, number one, not getting in a battle with Kendrick Lamar. Like, why would I do that? I know that I just make hits. And if I did get in a battle, I'd make some hits in that damn battle. Third thing is, I'm not going to try to frame my loss as a lawsuit as like I'm championing like the independent artists and artists around the world. That doesn't make any sense because I know that that's fake as shit. Like you don't give a damn about any of these artists. You didn't do anything for them before. So why would now you just start wanting to care about these things? It's about your personal loss. And it's just funny. Like, in general, this entire thing is just hilarious to me because
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying UMG completely like annihilate him. Like this is a battle track. Like who wrote this? I think they got Kendrick's to write this whole thing. Like They destroyed him, and it's if I read this and I'm in the court system and I read this, I know that like, yo, why am I even taking this? This needs to be dismissed. There's nothing. There's no grounds.
You lost. You're embarrassed. You said the same shit, and you just weren't as good as him. You lost, and you're a colonizer. But this is also Drake.
And you're a colonizer.
This is from the lawsuit. Drake encouraged the feud. For example, when he felt Lamar was taking too long to respond, Drake released a second recording in which he goaded Lamar to continue the public rap battle. Lamar did just that. And collectively, they released a total of 9 songs aiming at each other. So this is taking, with the 9 joints, this is taking
I think they take person shooter into account. Yeah. I think this is taking first
control.
Control is not the
beginning the start of this. What do you think is the real start of this? It's not Control?
Control is the start of this, yes. But
there's already roots before then, or no?
But that's not really if I don't like you, but I'm not trying to actually fight you, and then you say something to me, like some slick shit to me, and now I'm trying to fight you, just because I didn't like you before already doesn't mean that I started the fight. You see what I'm trying to say? I don't like you. Say I that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. I don't like you already. But then I'm walking around in the street and you're like, you go to your friend and be like, yo, that nigga Green's a bitch. And I hear you while I'm walking by. I'm like, I don't like you anyways, nigga. It's like now I owe you an ass whooping. So
right. But it's not your fault that you didn't start it then?
You just called me. You said Green's a bitch to your mans. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm just trying to say that at the beginning of the animosity, the beginning of the real part of the story, because you're saying first-person shooter is the first time that an actual rock goes through the air and hits somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before that, it's subliminal. And Control is not a direct shot because that's a completely different category.
Yeah, that's a completely different category. Control, to me, is just a declaration of competition, and Drake's part of it with everyone else. So how is that a direct shot?
But correct. But Drake's response to Control
it
creates the problem between them and proves you're not one of us. You don't get what I did on Control. So now I'm not fucking with you. And because he doesn't understand that gesture, when he sees Kendrick and Kendrick is like, hey, it's a normal day, he's like, you're a hypocrite. So now that is the beginning of the split between them, really.
I would say, yes, it's Drake's perception of what went down the beginning of the split. But like someone said in the chat, and we got a super chat from Ariel Smoke, of course, who I think he's second to you as Drake hater, maybe even more of a Drake hater than you. Dot saw something on that 2011 tour with Chemo Poppy. But
yes,
yes,
we've been talking about that. Yes,
we know that that's part of it. Like we've all heard the lore, like there's something that went back and forth, and there's also lore with why Controverse affected Drake so much.
But you think that first-person shooter, there's no coming back from that. I kind of felt like it seemed like normal hip-hop boasting, and you could have said, I'm going to ignore that. I don't need to address that. Whereas like that has to be addressed.
You could say that, but you've already don't mess with this nigga. And I've been not trying to say anything for 10 years, and you're still playing weird games with me and my name, right? Why would you? So the lore is that they asked Kendrick to be on the song. Kendrick was like, nah. And from what we understand, it wasn't even like a nah. It's like, no, I can't really do that type of situation. It was like a respectfully, right? And they understood what the whole song was gonna be about. Like, we the big three, let's finally make a song together type thing, right? Yeah. That didn't happen, and you still say that stuff and say it's like the Spider-Man meme is me and Drake and all this type of stuff. You could feel a way as a rapper and be like, let me come back at this whole thing. Like, we the big three. No, it's just me. That's not even a diss. That's not even a real like personal diss to say, fuck the big three, it's just big me. It's literally just saying that, hey, I'm better than you guys. Like, it's not a big deal.
Unlike that, he takes shots at Drake on first person shooter, it's really Cole that says the stuff that Kendrick might have found annoying about Big Three and the league. Drake doesn't really talk to Kendrick or about Kendrick on first person shooter like that, right?
Yeah. Like, I would say the whole battle is J. Cole's fault. I would say the whole battle is J. Cole's fault. But
Cole was standing next to Drake. I've been waiting for a chance to get at Drake, and Cole popped off on a Drake song, so I'm going to attack Drake.
Yeah.
How did Drake provoke that? How does first person, you admit that at first person shooter, Drake doesn't really say anything. So how does Drake provoke the battle when he didn't really say shit on first person shooter?
You're trying to go against against UMG's statement towards dismissing
I understand legally why they want to make that case, but I think Kenny started. He wanted this, and he started this.
No,
for a moment,
he did not provoke it. He did not provoke it, though.
First person shooter doesn't provoke it because Drake, on the Drake side,
no,
because Drake doesn't
because
shit.
This lawsuit's about Not Like Us, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, then. So let's listen to read back the UMG statement. Here we go. No, here's what I'm saying. They go to say that you provoked the battle, but then they go to say you came in there, you did the drop. You did the push-ups, and then you made a second song with the Tupac and all that, saying "Hurry up and drop that thing." Then he drops that thing, and now you mad. That's what they said in the dismissal.
You know, they did. Drake encouraged the feud for sure. I just am taking a little. I mean, this is sort
of. You can't keep going back. Because Not Like Us is the lawsuit, so you can't say like he provoked the whole thing.
But the lawyers are talking about the battle in general, and they're saying he provoked. When they say Drake provoked the battle, I don't think he did. I think Kenny wanted this.
But that doesn't mean
to get it. He legally. Did not provoke. But legally is a different conversation.
Okay.
They use their argument, and I appreciate their argument because we're pro Kenny over here. I'm just saying. Drake did not provoke this. He doesn't say shit on first-person shooter. If this became Cole versus Kenny, then Cole for sure provoked. Drake didn't provoke this. He was just a bitch.
If you want to,
Kenny was flying like fuck you.
As a Drake hater, I feel like other Drake haters feel like you're letting them down right now. I just want to put that out. I think the chat. I think they think that you're letting them down right now. You're a Drake hater. I'm not a Drake hater. You seem like me. Look, I'm usually on your side of this argument.
I just want to remember this truthfully and honestly, because part of my thinking of that Kenny wanted this and Drake didn't really provoke it. The anger of Not Like Us and Meet the Grams is not commensurate with the assault of first-person shooter. It's not. That would be just, I'm going to wrap circles around you and end the conversation. That's not. I need to say that you're a pedophile. I need to say you're a horrible father. I need to say that you're hiding another child. Like, there's a far greater anger toward this person in Kenny's spirit. Mm-hmm. That this became the spiritual crusade. This Pusha T was not on a spiritual crusade. They was just popping shit back and forth. Kenny was like, I need to destroy Drake Ness so that in the future, Drake does not exist in future historical hip-hop textbooks. We will burn all mentions of Drake to the ground and destroy your reputation for all time. Like, over first-person shooter? I don't think so.
He said, who to go, nigga, it's just you and Cole. You were supposed to be on this track. Think about it. I asked you to be on my... Okay, think about... you asked me to be on your song where you say, we're the best trio.
Everybody says they're the GOAT. You know...
No. What do you mean everybody? Why are you shooting so much bail? First of all, stop shooting so much bail for your boy like that. You shooting bail for the boy like that? What's good with you?
I'm just saying that I have noticed, especially in Zoomer culture... GOAT is a general adjective. It does not mean like we held it like the number one.
No. Listen to the lyrics. You're going too far into that. Let's listen to this statement. Let me make my case because you made your whole case that Drake didn't do anything on first person shooter. Now, I ask you to be on this song called Rap Latte Shooter. It's me, you, and Screwface. All right? And then you're like, yo, that's cool and all. I'm going to say no. Now Screwface is saying like, yo, we the best, all three of us, Toure, me and Green, all that type of shit. And then I'm like, yeah. All these women ask me who the GOAT. I'm like, who the GOAT? But I'm just like, yeah, I'm the best. It's just me and Cole. We the best. And I'm asked you to be on the song. But I asked you to be on the song where we're the three.
You said
me and Screw. Yeah. Me and Screw. So it's just me and Screw are the best. We're actually the best because the only two. But I asked you to be on the song where we're three of us were supposed to be the top in the game. You are not going to take no slight by that as a rapper, as an artist.
Every rapper is required by law to say that they are the best.
No,
as possible.
But no,
he don't take any specific
Toure, first of all, you're not required by law as a rapper. First of all, you're not required by law, and two,
yes, I've seen the statute.
Toure's wilding right now. Chat. Give me some L's in the chat if you think Toure's wilding. But let me say this:
everybody says I'm the best. Jello said he's the best.
Are you not hearing what I said? Did you not hear what I said? He said that I'm saying that me and Screw are the best. He didn't just say I'm the best. He said, no, me and Screw are the best. So that's different. No one even says that.
Dog, unlike that, he said, I hate you. Did he not say, I hate you?
No, he said it like that. He didn't say, I hate you on like that. He said that on Euphoria.
What was the big line on like that made this like?
I'm the big. Fuck the big three. It's just big me. Oh, yo, you got like 40,000 L's in the chat right now. You got like 40,000 L's. There's 40,000. There's 40,000. Hold on. Ariel Smoke is so mad at you. He about to give us his whole paycheck because he's so mad at you. Ariel Smoke says, Homaine's about to get packed up too, don't worry. Toure, you're wrong. Toure, you tripping. Drake antagonized with push-ups. So you over here tripping.
Oh, push-up? No, but we're not talking about push-ups. Push-ups is later. That's next week. That's later. Because Kenny's already in the studio. By the time Drake is releasing and making push-ups, we're already on a collision course. Sorry, before that. What? First-person shooter?
First-person shooter is a slight. It's not a big diss. Let's agree this. Okay, I'll
right.
It's not a huge diss, but it is a complete shade to the person you asked to be on the song. If you're saying like, yo, we the big three, and actually it's just me and Cole, we the top two niggas, right? And you asked me to be on the song. How are you going to be like, no, it's actually us two? You guys could have done this. You guys could have made verses about anything else. Y'all could have said anything, and my name could have not been in your song. But you put my name in your song and then said, actually, me and Cole are at the top. That's not a diss. It's just slighting the man. And the man slights you back. Me saying fuck the big three is just big me. It's just a slight. That's all it is. It's just a little shade. Then you come back with push-ups saying, yo, drop and give me 50. You don't even own your shit. Now, and said something about my wife I just told you, yo, fuck the big three. Think about this. No, think about this. I told you, fuck the big three. It's just big me. And you go, yeah, but what about Whitney and then Body? It's like, nigga, what? Nigga, what? Why you bring up my wife? And then I'm still going to shoot you bail.
After that.
Yeah, and then I'm going to still shoot you bail. I shoot you bail and be like, yo, I hate the way that you walk. I don't want you to say nigga no more. And I said, yo, just keep it a friendly fade and we be cool. Euphoria is not that scathing. It's just a good punch. Then
but
you
all those
come back.
Are already made. All those records are already made.
Euphoria was not. What do you mean Euphoria was already made? What do you mean by that?
By the time you're saying he's released he made all his records in one session. So like he already worked
first of all,
to the level of.
That's not true. Here's why I say that's not true.
They said it's true.
No. Here's what I'm trying to say. you might have concepts, ideas, an angle that you want to go at this guy, but there's literal lines that refer to the last song that happened. So a record actually being completed means that the record comes out and all the lines are completed. So let's be real. So we don't know what gets changed. That's completion.
We know how that last line got added. It sounds completely different than everything else in the song.
There's lines that can be. There's lines that could have been changed all around that thing, and some of them clearly have, because you had the Tupac reference from when he says he references Tupac, which is the thing that he said on what's it called, Tailor Made, and the song comes out 6 days later. So that means he worked on the song within that 5-6 days. So I don't just count that you finished the song before it actually finishes. I don't understand how that works. Song completion means the song's done. So he put that thing on there, put the bars referring to the battle, not too scathing. Family Matters comes out. It's a big whoop-de-doo. I got a van that looks just like the van on your album. I'm a diss 20 other niggas, then I'm gonna give you a little tiny verse at the end that's not even that hard, but people be loving Family Matters. He puts that verse, which it was fine if Meet the Grams didn't happen, but he puts that little verse on. You talk about his family. That's what UMG is saying. You provoked this. No one told you to start talking about people's family. It could have been Drake could have won this battle in more people's eyes if he just did push-ups after Euphoria. He could have said anything stupid, and the most of the public wouldn't have sided with Kendrick. He could have just been like, you know what, I think this is stupid, and literally quit and be in a better situation than he is right now. He wouldn't be having a lawsuit, and people wouldn't have been calling him a PDF. So your boy did it to himself. I don't know how you could say it any other way. The boy did. Let's get to these chats, because they really trying to get you right now. while it's all a Blur tour with Cole, Drake would sneak diss Dot while on stage, dig for the clips. That's true. He used to even say on stage, he was like, yo, I'm not like these other rappers who wait 5 years to give you an album. He was hitting people with freaking Suge Knight bars and stuff. All dancing in the videos. Like, what was he doing?
Hayway said Drake went on press run diminishing Kendrick, this is Control, and saying he wouldn't be around long. Hold on, get out of here.
Yeah.
And he was just for a moment after the Control verse. Dot sat back for years watching Drake be a goofy toward good people. Yeah, that to me, that sort of long simmering anger about you as a person, to me, explains how you get to the anger and rancor of Meet the Grams and Not Like Us and Euphoria, rather than he said, I'm actually the GOAT. Like, to me, that doesn't get you to, you're a horrible person.
There's history there. There's history there. So if there's history there after I go with Control, right? And I claimed all my friends, everybody, I'm like, yo, man, let's be competitive. I love this rap shit.
That gets to character and your ability to understand what we're really doing in this culture. That to me, I'm like, that I understand why this became a moral, righteous crusade. He said he's better than you on the song you were supposed to be on. I'm like, that's why you did this?
No,
that's
after.
Why I left the mountain to come down, peace to come down to fight this thing? No, because he is an immoral, illogical person who should not be in this culture whatsoever. So, and I understand that from Control and from before that. Like,
no,
I understand,
but why are you putting things in a vacuum in this situation? Which is all fun, but in this situation, we can't put it in a vacuum. Like, you're like, oh, that made you mad. It's not that made you mad. It's that compounded on you didn't get me when I did Control, and then you started talking all that shit. Remember Element? He was talking shit to Big Sean and Drake on Element originally. So Kendrick was mad. He's been mad. Kendrick been mad.
I mean, you think about the straw that breaks the camel's back, right? And you'd be like, well, damn, like one piece of straw couldn't have broken his back. His back is well, yeah. Don't blame that last. Fuck you. Don't blame that last, because I know what you're thinking right now. Fuck you. Don't fucking say it. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Always muting your damn mic. Oh, that's hilarious. Let's read some super chats because you failed with that. You took an L with that. Toure, you tripping. Drake antagonized with push-ups. Toure hates Drake so much. He ghost wrote, I hate the way you walk, the way you talk. I hate the way that you dress on Euphoria. Timeline. Inciting incident. 1, inciting incident. 2, years of subs. 3, Cole names Kendrick on first person shooter, but Drake doesn't. Kendrick, that's what we're saying here. That Cole names Kendrick, and Drake clearly says, I'm not going to talk about this other guy. It's me and you. Now, Kendrick uses that to pop out on like that and then push-ups. Push-ups.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. This timeline puts it in a longer term framework that to me represents why we get to the level of anger. The first person shooter is just a stop on the way, maybe the straw that breaks the camel's back. But I've been so angry with you and just hating you as a person for years. Like, that first person shooter was just the final straw. But like,
who's I? You're saying that you're Kendrick right now?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean provoked. Let's get back to let's get back to the statement. That still doesn't mean provoked because Kendrick just says something. Drake has a literal problem. Kendrick supposedly in the lore goes backstage at some point in LA and says, yo, do we have a problem around that time? And Drake says, oh, no, we don't have a problem. But then there's other little jabs throughout the years that Kendrick is seeing, whether it be actual lyrical subs or music industry, music business things like little blocks and little things that happen in the lore. You could watch many videos about what happened where Drake tried to do things to Kendrick.
Drake is not blameless 1,000%.
He's provoked it though.
I don't think he did. I don't think he wanted this. I think Kenny provoked this. He found his opportunity. He laid in wake, peekaboo on a nigga, and freaking got him. But he wanted this. He wanted this. Wait a minute. All right. I want to talk about Frank Ocean with you because we got a new snippet. This is more of it reminds me of the beautiful music we got from him before. And Blonde is one of the great albums of our time. And this could be the first omen of another great album. You're not even sure that this is meaning to lead to an album, though.
I'm not sure it's meaning to lead to an album, but before we get into that, we just have this one thing, a super chat that I want to read because I don't want to leave them out. Let's not forget that the money in the streets, not only was Drake talking about Dot's family, he was literally putting them in danger over a rap beef. That's unforgivable, and Dot will never forgive it. That's obviously 100%. That's 100% truth, and that's kind of post where we were talking about. We were kind of in that in number one, like what Gory put into is like number one's incident, and then number 5 being push-ups, which push-ups leads to how we get to a not like us, like without push-ups, which and that to me means that Drake provoked it because push-ups leads to not like us. And hey, a lot of people in the chat are saying, why are we changing the convo to Frank? They like where we was at.
All right, fine.
They like where we was at. But hold on. If you like where we're at, there's 987 of y'all in here right now. Go ahead. And if you're watching this later, because this will exist past this platform, like this video, please and thank you. Get the likes up. Like we could at least get to 900. There's 1,000 people that just came in here now. So let's get this up to 900. I do want to say respond to your Frank thing, and then we could get back to the Drake thing because this is the Rap Latte show. Frank situation.
I thought folks heard enough of Kendrick and Drake.
I just want to
that subject. I'm happy to keep going. My pace for that goes longer than most people's. So I thought we had. But if
I'm gonna answer it, and then we'll go back, and I'll run a poll too. But I'll answer it and go back because Frank does deserve some words, and we're gonna talk about this later. Anyways, we'll probably do a whole show on Frank because we love Frank. I think because I'm scoring as a listener, I don't put anything past this guy to not drop an album. It's just a snippet. I feel like it was like his friend or significant other that dropped the video on YouTube. That could be anything. That could be any way by that. That could be a promotional tool. He's also directing. He's got jewelry. It could be anything to make some noise because music from him will make noise. That's just the truth, right? So that's my first, I'm not going to get my hopes up. But Blonde is one of my favorite pieces of art that's
Wait,
been created.
Before you go into Blonde, yes, it's possible that the snippet doesn't lead to an album, but don't you think that is the most likely outcome? That he gave his boyfriend a snippet to post because he's cooking up and he's getting there?
No, I don't. I don't know. I don't think that. I just don't put anything past this guy. This guy hasn't dropped the album in 10 years. Toure, it's been a decade.
No, I know.
Like, what do we? Like, I don't think that I would hope for it. And the music sounds like right on par with where Blonde kind of was, and lyrically, it's still genius as always. Like the line about him reading every line of the journal, it was of the diary. That's an amazing line. I don't think Channel Orange is better at all. Channel Orange is strong as hell.
Channel Orange is better.
That's
than Blonde?
crazy.
What is happening? There's amazing songs on Channel Orange, but Blonde is this.
Magnum opus.
It's a magnum opus, but it goes back to some of the things we talked about, the difference between an album and a collection of songs. And Blonde is much more of a cohesive conversation about a specific moment in his life and different people who were in his life at that moment. Channel Orange is brilliant, but it's a disparate collection of stories, not this one singular vision of sound and story and storytelling. And I don't think it's really that close.
Yeah, it's not that close at all. We're at 50-50 with the move on or Drake. Actually, we're 51% move on. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on and stay on this Frank Ocean Blonde situation. But I'm gonna ask
for diabolical insanity. Some people want to stay.
Yeah, I want to run this Blonde versus Channel Orange.
This is a big thing. That Blonde versus Blonde is the hipster pick.
Yes,
Channel
Blonde
Orange
is completely hipster pick. Yes, Blonde is the hipster pick. It's like his first album is better. It's like it's actually not though, bro. It's not.
It's his third album.
Well, I don't count the first one, the mixtape.
Okay, but it's his second album. If you gotta erase Nostalgia Ultra, this is his second album.
What are you talking about? Blonde is the second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what
are you saying?
What are you saying about what I said? Blonde and Channel Orange. Who cares? We're talking about Blonde and Channel Orange.
Somebody said they don't miss Frank Ocean because Steve Lacy fills the spot. What is happening? Who are these people in my chat? Oh my god!
Steve Lacy is amazing. I really do enjoy Steve Lacy's music, but I would not put them even in the same space genre wise. So I think that's interesting to take that take. But Blonde's winning. It's some people are going, wow, it's going 45%. I think that's highly interesting that people are doing that with Channel Orange and Blonde. Like Channel Orange is not as succinct as a concept, not as succinct as a musical like the tapestry, the minimalistic approach. Like everything that he did on Blonde is so intentional and organic at the same time. I actually was working. I was working with this the pianist that played on some of the songs on Blonde. And I was doing like some writing session for somebody else. So I'm like writing a song and he's like, yeah, I'm working on Frank Ocean's next shit. And he plays me something. Just piano, just the vocals. Sounded amazing. It was just piano, just the vocals. On the album, whole different vibe. Freaking pitched vocals, all this type of stuff. And it shows how it progressed. And this is like, I think 2 years before the thing come out. This progression of the music was ridiculous. It's like he's literally crafting. He's a craftsman and he's crafting the best piece of artwork possible. Whereas some other people ain't doing that.
I want you to help me understand something, because Frank is part of that group of musicians that others would call hip hop adjacent And even though he's just singing, I don't think I'm leaving hip hop when I'm listening to him. And I think that the general hip hop fan is going to love, the canonical people we always talk about and him. And like Steve Lacy is great, but I'm like, you're doing R&B or soul music, and that's great. But Frank is singing, but he's over here with us. Why? And if you agree with that, why do I and many people look at someone like Frank as hip hop adjacent and part of our culture when there's other people who are doing very similar things musically, but we're like, no, you're doing experimental R&B. But this is hip hop.
Because he has solo replies with Andre 3000 on his album. Because he has Future Free, or was it Futura free at the end of the album, where he's rapping at the whole end of it in a very 3K Love Below type of way. Because he's part of a hip hop collective called Odd Future. Because he raps, and he's rapped on songs all the time. Steve Lacy is not that. He's just never was really a rapper, never comes to that stuff. But he is, I would say he's still culture adjacent. Steve Lacy's definitely hip hop. I think Steve Lacy makes music with the perspective of someone who comes from hip hop culture because he's born into it. I don't think he can try not to be it. At a certain point within our culture, there's nothing you could do not to be hip hop. It's not like, I think Vince Staples said this, and it was hilarious, which we got to make a episode about Vince Staples because he doesn't get talked about enough. But I
love his TV show. I loved it.
I loved his TV show. I loved his last album. Last year was a lot of great music because that album was perfect. I loved that last Vince Staples album. It's my favorite of his albums. But you pressed the button again. That's 3 times in one freaking show.
Fuck you,
3 times.
Fuck you and fuck Sky.
The last episodes, Professor Sky comes on here and talks shit. You get butthurt about it.
Mute his mic. Fuck him.
That's hilarious. Anyways, before I continue, guys, you watching this live, go ahead and give us some likes. But what was I saying about
good for you.
Vince Staples. No, Vince Staples.
Good for you. Serves you right.
Vince Staples said that this isn't brown sugar where it's like, when did you fall in love with hip hop? It's like I was born into this. Everything was around me. There's nothing that I could think about when I fell into stuff. This is the culture that you were born into, and and I think that's how Steve Lacy operates. Where Frank Ocean, I think he, as a visionary, puts those elements and those rap elements into the music. So yeah, people said Toure get a new mic. Hilarious. But anyways, Blonde wins 54% to 46%. That's what we thought. How is it even
so close?
Because there's a lot of freaking hipsters in the damn chat talking about.
What do you mean? No,
Channel
the hipsters would vote for Blonde. I feel
like hipsters are voting for Channel Orange or Nostalgia.
Why would the hipsters vote
because
for
they
Channel
want
Orange?
the first. Because they want the first. The first one's always better. That's our point by saying that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I misunderstood what you meant with that point earlier.
Yeah.
Because I think of Blonde and being this hipster Bible. I feel like people went through a life experience with Blonde. It was like, a critical moment in their life, or it got them through a critical moment in their life, or taught them something about life. And I don't think Channel Orange has that level of impact on people. Amazing songs like Pyramids, but like it's not the same impact on a person because of the scope of the album itself. You know what I'm talking about?
I completely agree with that because you're talking about the scope of the concept, the thing you we'll talk about again, but like the child, the impression of his childhood and his perspective of his childhood in that album is so relevant. So that right there will connect to people more. I think there's more to attach yourself through with Blonde, and Blonde is the thing that everybody references. Blonde's the album that everybody has on their wall. You know what I'm saying? That's the one. That's the one that's everybody says.
Wait, do you you millennial, do you remember the first time you fell in love with hip hop?
Kind of no, because it's kind of the same thing as someone like Gen Z, but I would say,
Because you were always in it.
unfortunately, yeah,
You,
kind of, but it's like just because my brother was already listening to things, but for me as a kid, like a 5 year old, I remember my mom and my aunts was like, do that MC Hammer dance, like that was me. Like I gotta go do MC Hammer dance.
you remember your mom telling you to do
Yep.
the MC Hammer dance because he does it so cute.
Yes.
But you don't remember even like that. That was already, you had already learned the hammer dance. You already showed her that
Just
you could
part of,
be.
yeah.
You don't remember that. So you're a hip hop native. You guys are
Yeah,
hip hop native. You don't remember without it. You don't remember it
it
coming in
kind
your
of
punches.
don't.
It was always
Yeah.
there. Because I
Don't
mean, I
really.
remember feeling like, oh, this is different. Rappers Delight, they rap the whole song. That's different. And like, as the culture started to emerge, Curtis Blow, Dougie Fresh, going into Run DMC as like later,
When did Sugar
um,
Hill Gang drop? What year was it?
either 79 or 80, right in there, like
Yeah.
79,
So I was
80,
born in the
somewhere in there.
'80s, so it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
I
whole. That's
mean,
the whole
it was
situation.
definitely like there's something different going on over there. And I'm like, I like that shit. Like nobody's talking about that or that's underground. There's definitely a difference. It's interesting that you're like, yeah, I don't. It was always there.
So to go back to the topic at hand, do you think Drake, like being in Canada, he's a millennial. He's like a year younger than me or something like that.
Mhm.
Is
Sugar Hill was
he
79.
79? Yeah. Is he going into this? You're in Canada. You know MC Hammer. You're born into this as well, right? That separation, does it come culturally because of his mother and his actual ethnic background, or do you think it is because he's Canadian culturally?
It's a great question. I did a
From your
book.
perspective as a Drake hater.
No, I can do it anthropologically and not sociologically. I did a book about 10, 15 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, about what it means to be black in modern society. It was called Who's Afraid of Post-Blackness? And I interviewed like 110 black people about their experiences with blackness. And one of the things I found consistently was that if you didn't live in America by the time you were 17, 18, you will always feel like, I don't totally get African American culture. I don't totally
Mm,
get racism. It's like I missed a class and I'm always like a step behind. I don't totally understand it. And like even if they understand it intellectually, they're like emotionally, I just don't totally grasp it in a way that African Americans are like, oh, I understand this shit. And
yeah.
I think, yeah, growing up in Canada, in the world of in the world of acting, whatever he's doing with Degrassi, that's a small world as far as being a professional working actor, as far as being in a middle class suburban neighborhood, mostly interacting with young Jewish kids and young middle class kids. That's what he said about his growing up. He's dealing with an experience that is far away from what we're dealing with, as far as learning about hip hop, loving hip hop. What Kendrick is growing up in hip hop, right? In a true hip hop
Yeah.
experience. Drake was not, and
More so
that
than others
never
too.
goes away. Yeah, yes, and that never really goes away. You don't just leave your childhood behind. It stays in you. We can still see it in you.
That's I like what you said about the age range or that like concept where it's like I'm thinking about people that I know because like there's first generation Americans, but you just grew up since you were born, you're American and you have that black experience. There's immigrants who come here like at 15, high school age and all that type of stuff, and you could recognize. I'd had friends that from Jamaica, Brazil, and had different perspectives about what blackness was in like our like schools, high school system and stuff like that. And then after going through the 4 years with together, it kind of meshes into this. We kind of understand this American perspective of it. Like we all kind of get through it because you go through the same trials and tribulations. Like if we all get stopped by the cops 7 times for no reason and all of us are black, you're like wondering why is this happening to us and not freaking Timmy who we go to class with.
Timmy, fuck Timmy.
Literally, Timmy didn't get caught. It was just that was I didn't make that up.
Somebody in chat saying like we have racism in Canada too. Of course you do. Of course you do. You know, there's prejudice all over the globe, right? But America has, and this is not better or worse. America has a particular system of racism, and I'm talking about systemic racism that leads to African American poverty, African American incarceration, the school to prison pipeline that a lot of kids deal with growing up, the war on drugs, which had a massive impact on African American families, multi-generationally, right? Just Kendrick might have been born after that, but his parents' lives were affected by that, right? Like all of us are. So this is the system that we're dealing with, especially in the couple of decades where most of the rappers or rap fans have been created. Drake is not in that system. Might he have experienced moments when things happened to him or things were said to him because he's black? For sure. He might have dealt with microaggressions or some sort of oppression, but he's dealing with a different system than we have in America. If I move to France, they have racism there. I might not understand because I don't know the history of the interplay between the different cultures, the dominant culture and the black culture.
It's honestly not about better or worse because I've lived in France for like 3 or 4 years, and as a kid, and like on some Kobe shit, you realize that like shit is just different. No. When I said also Kobe shit, I'm saying he was in Italy. My dad was a baller. But
he was there because his dad was a baller.
Facts. But my mom was a baller. But what was I about to say? France is crazy racist. Like it's racist as hell. But it's different. Like it's a complete different type of racism, just like there's a different type of racism in South Africa or a different type of racism in Brazil. There's still this oppression, but their system is different and the way that they look at things is different. There might be different classes and a different caste system and a different racial group, like being colored in South Africa is a whole different racial group, but you would be colored in South Africa, and you walk over there and they're telling you you're colored. And you're like, nigga, I'm a black nigga. Like I'm from America, but they'll be telling you that you're of a whole nother racial group because they're gonna impose their racial perspective on it. So yes, culturally, if you don't catch these things, especially when it comes to and you don't notice it until it gets to the nuances. And Canada's so much like America that until you get to the nuances, you're not gonna really notice it, and that's what I think may possibly happen.
Here's a bit of an analogy that I keep sort of coming back to with Drake, and then we'll touch some of these super chats. Pause. That if you know, like when you went to school, you probably went to high school for 4 years, right? The same high school for 4 years, and maybe somebody arrived senior year and they were only there senior year. They know some of what's going on, but they don't understand the full history of what's happening between all these people in the class because they weren't at the party junior year. They don't know about the rumor from sophomore year. They don't know about the breakup that happened freshman year that people are still talking about and how he scored 2 touchdowns.
So they're less valuable to Ray? That's messed up.
No, not less valuable, but they just don't fully understand the situation. And I think Drake's lack of understanding of the culture leads to him making mistakes like the AI Tupac, like always rapping like you're trying to get the slaves free.
The lawsuit.
And that shit, the lawsuit. And that shit, the control response, and that shit really bothers a lot of us who are hip-hop purists.
3,000%, and bothered one guy specifically, which didn't work out well for that guy. Let's get to some super chats. Watching the artists Weekend is, watching the artist Weekend is what Drake should have aimed to be. I 100% agree with this statement. The growth and humble guy he is, Drake should have studied. Y'all heard Abel album? One, yes. Hurry Up Tomorrow, I think is the name of the album. I like the first half. It kind of trails off. I'm a fan of The Weeknd. I like his music a lot. Some of it, but I've never felt like a whole album has done what I needed it to do for me since like the first trilogy. But he hits me. He hits you with these songs that are just timeless and impeccable.
That first trilogy when he was doing mixtapes, what was it? The House of Balloons and shit. That shit was so dope. It would kill me.
Thursday, House of Balloons is my shit.
Oh my!
And that was around when Frank Ocean was bubbling up.
And he gave me those records. And that early era from The Weeknd were like cinematic. Like I saw the vision of like, this guy is living wild with drugs and women and the rock and roll lifestyle. And he's making these records at 3 a.m. on coke and shit. And it's just, his life is just wild. And I don't know if any of that is true, but the records were giving me a vision of the world that he was coming from. And when you're painting pictures in my mind, how can I not be attracted to the music?
3,000%. And then he goes fully into aesthetics that give you visuals, like working with Daft Punk. That automatically just gives you these visual like soundscapes, and then the lyrics help it too. He killed it. Now, to say that Drake should have aimed to be that, I agree with that. That's what I said when I said if I was Drake, I would go ahead and there would be no such thing as battles for me. I make hits. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not battling you. No. Like, I already won the Meek Mill battle too, and then Pusha T embarrassed me, so I'm just not gonna battle no more. Why would I be battling?
Because he doesn't know who he is. He doesn't have a clear grasp on himself. He shouldn't be battling. He shouldn't be talking about situationships. But he doesn't have a clear grasp.
I mean, if he wants to talk about situationships, he can talk about situationships.
No.
If you in them, you can talk about them.
Not be talking about that shit. It's not sexy. And that's part of the big complaint with him.
It
was fine when you were 29 and 32. It's not fine now.
But what if you're 55 and you're still in situationships?
He's not quarterbacking his career correctly, right? There was a period when he couldn't make any wrong moves. He's not been able to make any right moves for a good 3-4 years. It's just been mistake after mistake. And he needs to be able to understand, who are you to be able to make the sort of records that would mean something to the audience? Hold on. Jay has an interesting super chat. My first musical memory of actively liking a song was Hip Hop Hard Knock Life. Funny enough, though, Kendrick took over the #1 spot all time for me last year, and Nas is now second. Sorry, Torre. Hey, I respect it. Your name is Jay. You're named after Jay-Z, so you're disrespecting your mother, but it's fine. It's fine. Do you?
What is with you and Jay-Z? Like, what is with you? You missed one, though. Canada has the same system, but for First Nations. I would agree with that. Respect to all indigenous people out there. On top of America, we got people that would sacrifice themselves if it hurts black people more.
Revolutionary Dragon, thank you for that. Amen.
All right. Let me move this here. Nas is greater than Jay. I mean, Nas is still active. And he has, in his later years, he's made arguably some of his best work. So what do we say to that, Toure? King's Disease trilogy.
Nas is one of the greatest artists of all time. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. This is the classic style of hip hop. I could go on and on about Nas. So many hits. For me, and we're not going to rehash the battle conversation again, I think Jay's career is ahead of Nas's in spite of whatever happened in the battle. That's how I have it. And for a lot of us, I know a lot of people in my era thought of Jay as the #1 guy and above Nas for a very long time, even in spite of the battle. If shit done change, I mean, we do have to reassess everything after 2024. You cannot have a year that great after having a career that great without rocketing into people's #1 or #2 slots. So, like, we're all going through that, hopefully going through that sort of recalibration after one of the most incredible periods we've ever seen. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick dropped another album, an actual album, not a mixtape, this year, and like made it like we can't argue against him being number one. Nobody can.
I think he needs to go after DMX's. This is completely selfish, but I think he needs to go after DMX's record and try to drop 2 platinum albums in the same year. Like, just go ahead, try to go after everybody's record, because he's the first rapper to have 100 million monthly listeners. He is like the first rapper to do so many things. First rapper to do the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl thing that everybody hated. You know that Super Bowl that everybody hated, right? All those people hated that Super Bowl. It's like the number 5 most watched video on the NFL's YouTube channel, and it just came out.
Well, the number 1 watched Super Bowl halftime show ever
of all time. But that's the instance. But think about people watching after.
I don't even get into those numbers. The guy has never made a bad album. All his albums are great. I mean, like, he doesn't have. Jay-Z has bad albums. Full stop.
Yeah.
Kenny does not. And I don't care. I'm not getting into a numbers thing, but he has 6, he has 5, so he's better than him. Like but like the shooting percentage is insane, and that's saying a lot.
That's why I had to concede and say Kendrick is GOAT. Like a career objective, that's GOAT. Is he my personal favorite rapper of all time? No, he's not my personal favorite rapper of all time.
Your personal favorite is who?
Andre 3000, and I would love to talk to Mickey Fax about it. But Mickey Fax and Doom are my personal favorites.
That's an amazing choice. You said Mickey. You said 3K and who? And Doom.
I have to do visual.
3K and Doom. 3K and Doom. Yeah, I mean,
like anytime this fool drops something, I cop it. Like, that's me. That's my personal space. But I can objectively, and Kendrick's in probably my top 5 just personally, but I'm saying I can objectively be like, if he's in my personal top 5, he's in your personal top 5, he's in someone else's personal top 5. To me, that means in my brain, I'm like, all my other guys are not in your personal top 5, but this guy's in everybody's top 5. That guy must be number 1. That's how I see it.
Well, Kenny is in a top. I mean, we just actually did this with Anthony Fantano, and all 3 of us had Kenny in our all-time top 3 to 5. All of us mentioned Nas. Most of us, we all mentioned Jay. And Jay, he mentioned Chuck D, who we did not mention. I had Jay, Nas, and Kendrick. You had Kendrick, Jay, and who did you have? Kendrick, Jay, and who's your third?
Nas, Pop.
Nas.
Objective,
yeah. So we all So we all had Kenny, Jay, and Nas in our top 5. Which, and so those 3 and Pac are generally, that's most of the conversation, and maybe 3K. That's most of the conversation for all time. Kenny, Jay, Nas, Pac, and 3K.
Yeah, and I just and they're for different reasons. Like 3K is just, as a complete artist, that's like the taste, that's the taste level that I desire in work. Same thing with Doom. As a lyricist and as a mood, that's what I can just, even though you try to talk shit to me about it, I could put on Doom and clean my house. That's the music I want to listen to when I clean my house.
Why would I talk to you
about
it?
That's great. You did. You freaking you talk shit last time I talked about Sade. When I said, should I be listening to Sade? You don't remember the Sade conversation?
I mean, I'll troll you on anything. I'm just saying, we cleaned the house yesterday to Blonde to be like, it's
that's
great
a perfect,
to have
that's a perfect
house music.
That's perfect clean house music. Blonde is definitely up there. Doom, and even Sade. I would clean the house to Sade, but
so we touched on this earlier in the previous show. For Frank Ocean, obviously Blonde is this amazing testament, this amazing document of art. But I feel like Frank fans also hold the way that he finessed, trolled, screwed the label almost in equal esteem as the album itself. Like, not only did the nigga make an incredible album, but he out chess moved the label and screwed them And like it's like two equal achievements at the same time.
That was the reason I started listening to the album. Like I actually know I because I didn't think Channel Orange was that great, but I loved Thinking About You, Sweet Life. There's things that I loved about that album, right? But I didn't think it was like groundbreaking, right? I just really liked some songs and liked him as an artist. Then and then Nostalgic Ultra was the same. I thought it was cool. Then freaking what was the album called that was the fake album that dropped that night?
Oh God, I don't even remember.
The one that he did for Def Jam, which was the fake album. Chat, you let us know. The fake album that he dropped, I was listening to in the middle of the night because it dropped like at midnight or something like that. I was like, this is garbage. This is complete and utter trash. It's booty. And I was like, I thought he could go somewhere. Then your boy, the next day, is freaking Blonde. So, and everyone telling us that, he fooled his label and all that type of stuff. All the blogs are saying that. So I'm listening to this so attentively, and it was perfect. It was like from the day one, and I haven't stopped listening to it since 10 years ago. It's been a decade. That's like that generation's miseducation.
But like the way that yes, for sure. The way that we say Drake loses points also.
It was called Endless. That was called
Endless. Drake loses points for losing the battle and the lawsuit separately. This is like the inverse of that. Like we love you for what you said on Blonde, but we also separately love you for screwing the labels like that.
Exactly. And it didn't have to even go this way. I want this to end. Like, I want this lawsuit to end. I want Drake to move on and be able to just continue his career and make his own music, because this is terrible. This is like really bad. Like UMG coming back and making you look like a fool and putting a whole motion that's part of the diss track. Like this is like their diss. What'd you say?
What's wrong with that? What's the problem?
This is like
the problem.
This is like Drake Christmas for you, Drake haters.
What's the problem? Look, you sold your soul to the devil, and then what happens? What happens in a sell your soul to the devil story? The devil always comes in the end and collects, and then life sucks for you. And like, sold your soul to the devil, and then you went in the mirror and said the boogeyman's name 5 times. What the fuck? You provoked this battle against the illest battler in the fucking game. How did you not even know? How did you not know? Don't fuck with. Nobody told you. Don't fuck with him. Like, of all people, he has no friends. He's gotten no good advice in like 3 straight years. It's kind of fucking crazy.
The statement "he has no friends" is hilarious. he has no friends.
Somebody should have said. There's so many moments when somebody should have said, "Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that." And like, he's made all these social mistakes out in front of everybody. It's fucking ridiculous. There's something wrong with him as a person. It's fucking ridiculous. Let's
get some super chats.
Drav Riles, this is your objective top 5. J. Nas Big Wayne. I'll take that. Totally respectable.
Who said this?
I think it's Drav Riles.
Is it a super chat?
Yeah, it's the last super chat. And K-Way is back with another super chat. Appreciate you. You're always coming through with multiple super chats every show. Drake's ego is shot. Oh, I like this super chat. This is what happens when you spend too much time disrespecting black women instead of having a solid one advise you. He's ass out with the thong showing. Wow, I didn't know where that sentence was going. Millie Bobby part of UMG suit is crazy, by the way, though. Wait,
what's that part? Bobby? Oh, look that up while I read this other super chat. Look that up. Red choice voting
Millie Bobby Brown part
for the rap goat. Nice Touré. My dad was a hotep as hell though, so my name is actually Jason. Just following my roots, I guess. That's funny. We got to find this Millie Bobby Brown part. So if you guys have it in chat, post it in the chat easier so we can read it. But Torre's going to try to find it.
For it.
I'm going to start I want to see because we already did the blonde versus Channel Orange discussion, and we talked about this. Do we want? I want to know how many people are actually Drake haters in the actual chat. Are you a Drake? Are you all-time Drake hater, or did you just start? I am not either.
I don't understand. Let's see.
Hold on. Because the all-timers, y'all, this is straight Christmas.
I'm an
for y'all.
all-timer.
But I'm wondering how everybody feels like on the other. Hate's a strong word, but we're just joking. Yo, there's some all-timers in here, man. There's a lot.
Yo, let me tell you something. As an all-timer, because I did like some of Drake's freestyles and mixtape songs that came out before his first album. And I remember his first album came out, and I thought, this guy doesn't know if he wants to be a rapper or an R&B singer, and he is confused as to which direction to go in.
I never think that was a problem, though.
I felt like that first album, it wasn't a coherent project that I didn't understand how to receive him because he had not decided if he was which he was. That was as opposed to Lauryn Hill, who merged the two talents much more seamlessly, and I felt like, oh, right. And you said Frank, right? Like, he seamlessly merges the two talents. I felt like Drake didn't, and I didn't. I was like, I'm being pulled in two directions. And I was walking on DeKalb. It was like a Saturday afternoon, and a guy named Hip Hop, who's big in the industry, asked me what I thought about the album, and I told him in detail that what I just told you.
You talking about Kanye's old manager, Hip Hop?
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was a producer, like an executive producer on the Drake album. So as I'm explaining to him, I don't like it because he didn't understand. He hasn't decided if he's a rapper or is a R&B singer. Like, he needs to make it. I thought I was just talking to another person who liked hip hop, and he's kind of getting annoyed as I'm detailing. This is why I don't like the album. And finally, he's like, I produced the album. I'm like, I did not know that. He was talking like on industry shit. Like, I would say, it's great. Like, when you talk to your friend, like, you like my album? It's great. Like, nobody would actually detail, this is why I don't like the album. This is a significant problem with this artist. And he's like, that's my fucking project there. People get very fucking sensitive they don't want to hear about, I did not like, right? Like, it's hard to take criticism.
3, I think that's the problem, which I had to not give a damn about it, because it's like, when I say, even when people say they're an all-time Drake hater, there might be people who actually like on some real hate shit, but it's just like, I don't like your music. I don't like what you've represented. You don't like someone's music. That means nothing. That shouldn't mean anything to you. But it hurts. Like Erykah Badu says, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit, right? So if someone says that they don't like my music, I've been in it along, and I detach myself so much that I just chalk it up as, oh, this ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's just not for you, it's able for me to be like, oh, this ain't for you. Like, my brother didn't like my music most of my life. When he likes a song, I'm happy because I'm like, yo, I got one. Because this thing will tell me. If he doesn't like it, he'll be like, yo, I don't like this shit.
But that fucks with you that he doesn't like your music.
Not at all. It makes, that's what I just told you, that it allows me to know that, oh, this group of people and what they listen to, this song that I made doesn't work for that, because I'm more of a songwriter than anything else when it comes to this industry and all that. That's what I really am. It's like, I know that these songs are different from each other.
I get it that you have the ability to be intellectual and analytical and remove yourself from like, okay, that individual doesn't like that. That's fine. Yeah. You're still an emotional person. And for your
I can't
brother,
tell you more than...
Is he older or
He's
younger?
Older. 5 years older than me. The guy that introduced me to hip hop.
The guy who introduced you to hip hop, and you'd be like, yo, and he's like, meh. I feel like, oh, that fucking hurts.
Not at all. first of all, I was making different type of music. So I was making alternative music, and he was not an alternative fan. So when the music got real better and we got signed and all that type of stuff, some songs he would be like, I don't like. It's like, I don't like this song, but I could tell that a lot of other people would. Because he knows that it was good.
So he respects you. He just doesn't necessarily like. It's not my taste, but I understand.
That's why you can't get offended. Yeah, that's why I can't get. And now I don't get emotionally offended by anybody. And being in the studio, to tell one of my another random studio stories that I like to tell, but it has to do with this. I felt that way, like you're talking about. Like, I don't want to tell somebody something, especially a legend. So I'm in the studio. It's me and my boy Gold. We're in the studio and we're working with Pharrell. Pharrell's making this beat. And we're on some different time. And we're like, we don't like this for what we're trying to do. It's like, how the hell do we tell Pharrell that we don't like? We love everything Pharrell. I love everything Pharrell does, right? I love all the music he's ever put out. So I'm a big Pharrell fan, but I'm like, yo, my guy is making this beat right now, and I don't want this beat. Like, how do we do that? And he's just like starting something. And then we finally like get the courage to be like, man, we just got to tell him that this is not the vibe. So we go and tell him, like, actually we wanted something with, like, you know, major seventh chords or something like that. We tell him that stuff. He's like, all right, fine, let's do that. We'll scratch that. We'll do that. I'll give this. He says this right quick. He goes, I'll just send this to like Beyonce. So he does. He lets us know that just because you don't like it, don't mean the shit ain't hot. But it doesn't mean nothing to him because he's trying to make something with us. It's not about his ego, and that's something that I learned so much right there. That this shit's not about your ego. And if you think it's good, that's all that freaking matters. But if you're trying to make something with somebody else and collaborate with them, you can't get mad if they don't like something or not, or your audience doesn't like it. It's like, oh, well, you didn't like that one.
It's a dope story, and I appreciate that you guys found the courage to say to the big superstar, can we do it a little differently? Because this is not, I understand we are on different status levels, but this is not hitting us the way we need to be hit as artists to do the best that we can. And you got to make the most out of this opportunity to make a song with Pharrell. And like, you might have to push past like the moment of like politeness to be like, can we get to the real shit? Because we're not connecting right now. And I might need to say, can we change this up? So you and then you did.
Yeah, and he probably sent that other shit to Beyonce and became some smash. I don't even remember what the beat sounded like.
It was irreplaceable. So you fucked up.
Yeah, fucked up. Could have got it. But I mean, Beyonce matters. But like you said, there's probably nobody around Drake to go back to on topic that has the courage to be like telling him these things, or they might think like him. That's the worst part too. Like, it's not that your friends are too scared, but they have the same exact dumbass perspective as you. Then it's just the blind leading the blind.
Okay, wait a minute. I might have found something.
What, the Millie Bobby Brown shit?
Yeah.
Let me read some super chats while you look for that. So we got never vibed that much with Drake's music. Kendrick helped me understand why, and I'm thankful for that. That's funny. Why am I the only one that has Common in their top 5? Common used to be in my top 5. My personal top 5. Like, Common definitely used to be. I love the B album.
Common was in your top 5 all time?
I loved Common. Like, are we talking like Water for Chocolate? Freaking B, like
the question is not
Resurrection.
The question is not is Common great? Stipulated, but there are so many people. I think I could think of 7 people off the top of my head who you'd be like, yes, without even thinking about it. Yes, that person's ahead. So then to get to the top 5, I'm like,
but Common started real early. Can we got to recognize this? Common's over there, go over there with Ice Cube, right? As time progresses, his career matched up with other people's career. Like, what Doom came in 2000. So Common already had 4 or 5 albums before that. Like, so now Doom's in there and Doom's taking up all my time. I'm just telling you that that's how that happens. New rappers could take up that spot. At first, Common was at that top spot. Like in 2000, it'd be that way.
Can I read some of this lawsuit?
Let me do the super chat before that. Super chat before that. I've used scrobbling services to track my music listening since 2012. The only spins of Drake I have on there are from Poetic Justice. I'll look to see if there's any super chats we missed. Let us know if there's any super chats. We got one more. Drake didn't bother me before, although I never actively sought out his music. Now with the lawsuit and corporateness of it all, hatred has emerged. Because, dude, what are you doing? This is
hatred has emerged.
Hatred has emerged is crazy. Hatred has emerged. 78% of the people watching us right now are all-time Drake haters.
Yes. All right. Well, let's feed the beast. Let's see. Where to start? Facts and criticism. This is from the dismissal from UMG. Facts and criticism concerning Drake's relationships with minors predate Not Like Us and have been widely reported. Noting that Lamar is indicating Drake for years of rumors and speculations around his misbehavior around minors, and that Millie Bobby Brown is one of the things that most people are aware of when it comes to Drake and the rumors around him. She talked about texting with Drake when she was, a minor. Notably, Drake himself, in italics, called on Lamar to invoke these allegations in tailor-made freestyle released before Not Like Us, in which he had Tupac's AI-generated voice rap that Lamar should talk about Drake liking young girls. In the Hard Park 6, Drake also affirmed that he understood Lamar's statements in Not Like Us to refer to the Millie Bobby Brown controversy, stating, "This Epstein angle was the shit I expected. And only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I'd never look." What is it? Hold on. I lost my put. "I'd never look twice at no teenager." So, yes, he does say, as you and others have noted, that he said, "You should talk about me liking young girls," which is like, why would you think that he should talk about that? Why would you say you expected him to go the Epstein angle?
That's like me rapping and being like, "Yeah, you should talk about how I always wear green, how I have these two glasses." That means that you know that about yourself. About yourself. You put it out there.
The guy this has been around since before Not Like Us. Even Drake has made reference to it. How do you say that Kendrick defamed you when this is already known and you yourself referenced it?
It says that they also used the word fondle in regard to the 17-year-old. Oh, that's crazy. That's all that stuff is messy. They're messy as hell. UMG's messy as hell for that entire thing. But they're Drake only stating facts. Yeah, they're only stating facts. They're petty, not messy. They're petty. I'm going to say that they're petty, not messy. But let me go to this super chats again while you look for the most of it. Common, great, but a top 5 changes with lack of continual contributions. I could see that. The Light, I used to love her. 6 cents. Can I borrow $1? Yes. All these albums, he says, all that's before B and FF. Finding Forever. So his Ye songs aren't even his top 5. His Ye songs might not be even his top 5, but his Ye album is his best album. His magnum opus. So
is Common the best rapper from Chicago?
The best rapper from Chicago?
Yeah, niggas is talking about Common top 5 or even top 10. Is he the best rapper out of his own city?
I can say yes. As skill set wise, I think Chance is crazy underrated because Chance is a ridiculously good rapper and writer.
Facts.
Technically,
is Lupe not Chicago?
Oh, Lupe is also better technically than Common.
And Kanye, I think Kanye is much more memorable and hypnotic.
Yeah, Kanye. I don't put. Common. Here's the thing, guys. I can't put Kanye in this conversation. So if you guys want to have that conversation, that's a solo thing for y'all. Y'all type of niggas who want to talk about somebody like Kanye is one of the goated hip hop artists and made great albums. He's a great artist and one of the greatest artists. Don't talk about him when it comes to rapping.
One thing with that.
Yeah, Lupe would probably be the best rapper from Chicago.
I understand as a rapper and as a fan, you have every right to say you're not actually writing, so you have to go in a different lane. And that's fair. Lane. However, once the shit is written, and that's not to say that writing is a small thing. Writing is a huge thing, but he has to go in the booth and say it. Nobody else is saying.
No, he
the
doesn't.
Shit
He has AI people do it now. Like, let's not even talk about this dude. This dude is trash. This dude just said, Cardi, I was gonna make an album with Cardi. I'm his real twin. Like, this dude is weird, man. The dude is weird.
We could easily make a case that Common is no better than fourth in Chicago.
Lupe, Common, Chance. That's what I would say. As a rap, well, full career,
if he's second in Chicago, he can't be top 5 in hip hop because he's not even number 1 in Chicago.
No. Because when you said as a top, he's not top 5. To me, he's not top 5 hip hop. Okay. For me personally. Okay. No, I already.
I mean, I'm a nigga, but he's not top
5. Felicia, I haven't seen Felicia in a while. So hi, Felicia. So Green, why doesn't Biggie and Pac move off the list? Biggie and Pac, why don't they move off the list? They do move off the list for me. My top 5, Pac's not in my top 5.
Yeah, they're not in my top 5 either.
I mean, Biggie's not in my top 5.
Through no fault of their own, the amount of music that they have put out is far smaller than the people who we have in the top 5. It becomes difficult to compete against Lil Wayne and who else, and Nas, when they keep putting out more and more stuff. And I'm sorry, you're not here. It's not your fault, but I can't continue to compete 2 or 3 albums versus 6, 7, 8. Jay-Z and Nas are at like 8, 9. Like 3K's had 15, 20 years of development. Like it's just it becomes a different conversation.
Yeah. I mean, when we said that the objective top 5, it was like Kendrick, Jay, Nas. The people would say Biggie and Pac. They can be moved because you could put Wayne in there. You could put some people say 3K, except for Mickey Facts would not allow 3K to be in there. And then so those people can be moved for the top 5. I think that's a good thing that the culture is allowing space for that, because before it was like Biggie and Pac, and that's it. That's all you could have as the best rapper ever, right? Like I'm talking about early 2000s, all that. It was just like Biggie and Pac standard, and Jay-Z was not in the top 5. No. And when
does Jay-Z go into? I mean, I want to look and see, when does Jay-Z begin that
his best rapper ever shit? Black Album.
Yeah.
That's the Black Album.
Stop.
Blueprint solidified. No. You're from New York, so you have New York perspectives and New York bias, okay? So let me tell you how this thing went around the world, okay? Jay-Z inserted himself in the conversation like volume 1, right? Where he goes, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas, right? He inserted himself in the conversation, but that was not a thing, really. Jay-Z does volume 2 and actually goes 5 times platinum, and he's battling with DMX. The world around that is that Jay-Z and DMX are neck and neck. That's what the world is saying about this, not New York, because I know New York at that time is saying Jay-Z's the guy. At volume 2, New York is saying Jay-Z's the guy, but Blueprint solidifies Jay-Z's space, because Blueprint is still like what is it? That's Jersey time, right? That's Blueprint. So we're still doing throwbacks.
Nigga, song cry, girls.
Yeah, that's great. No, I'm not talking about the album. I'm talking about how people are perceiving his spot in hip hop. Blueprint kind of solidifies that top spot. But when he does Black Album and he says that he's going to retire, and tells everybody to button up their shirts, we actually accept, like the entire like hip hop community just accepts it. Like, yo, MJ's retiring. Like that's what's solidifying in the world, which communicates it to the rest of the world that Jay-Z's number 1. And now after Jay-Z retires and he's the president at Def Jam, everybody's sampling his voice. Lil Wayne is saying he's the best rapper now because the best rapper retired, best rapper alive because the best rapper retired. So that solidifies that like concept within the zeitgeist at that time. I'm not talking about just New York and all that. I'm talking about the entire world and seeing what's happening.
I am aware of the rest of the world, nigga. I don't just live in New York. The internet is actually a thing. I do talk to a lot of rappers and travel around the country just a little bit from time to fucking time. Like I fucking live in New York and I am completely unaware what people outside New York say. I mean, I feel like, that was.
And then Wayne kind of took the spot amongst the youth. Wayne took the spot amongst the youth like 3 years later.
I mean, Wayne had a period before he went to prison that was unlike anything I have ever seen. It wasn't just albums. It was mixtapes. It was features. Whenever he touched the fucking mic, it was fire. It could be a chorus on that. What's that Hot Boys record? We had a fucking ridiculous chorus or verse, and it was all the "Please Say the Baby" shit, and he was spazzing out for like it was like 2.5 years of like he cannot make a mistake. Everything he says is a fucking bar. It was ridiculous.
It was like 2007 to 2010.
Yeah,
Lil Wayne went crazy
before he went to prison. When he went to prison, ever since he went to prison, things have been a little bit different. This little different. He still is a very, very high level MC, but it's like he never returned to that when he was like that. Please say the baby. It has nothing to do.
Prison didn't do that to him. He had like that whole label situation. He couldn't put out music. Remember that? It was a few years where he literally could not put out an album. And then Young Thug was being pushed, the lifestyle record and all that type of stuff. And Young Thug had the people were saying comparing him to Wayne at that time.
I'm not giving I'm not saying it's because of prison. I would have to know much more about his life to start to say, is this a change?
He couldn't put out music. That's what happened.
No, I know, but it's more than that because he continued to put out music and it was not. He could never get back to that level.
If you literally can't put out music and you were just at your height and everyone's waiting for you. We're talking about years.
But a lot of it was mixed. A lot of shit that was so hot was mixtape shit. And it was
what are you talking about? He put out. Let me just say this. He put out Carter 3, Rebirth, and then I think Carter 4 and No Ceiling. Sorry for the wait. And then he couldn't put out music he couldn't put out an album anymore. He couldn't put out any of those Carters. And I think it was a couple years. That will fuck up your space in the climate if you can't put out albums into the marketplace for 2 years. So I think that was the biggest thing that kind of
so I'm just trying to figure out when, like, I'm trying to look at the song that pushes Jay-Z over, and I'm not sure yet where it is. Who are you saying if we're in 1999, 1998, 1997 and it's not reasonably Jay-Z yet, who do you think the average person is saying, average hip hop head is saying is the bet in the late 90s is saying it's, but who's number one MC?
In the late 90s? Like 1999? Yeah, pick a year because they got that.
Like 97, 98, 99 because Jay-Z comes with Big Pimpin' in 2000 and that was a huge step forward for him. And La 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 was a big record for him. And Dirt Off Your Shoulder and 99 Problems was a gigantic record. So now we're in 2000. Yeah,
but there was bigger records at that time. Like might be big records for him, but bigger records at that time. So let's so I don't know if just big records don't make it
in the world. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about in rap.
I'm just trying to figure when he.
No, I'm saying. Do you mean give me a year? Year specific 1999. That feels like that's Jay-Z to me in 1999. Because 1999. Nothing came out in 1999 that year. Nothing came out other than I think another X record and Eminem didn't come out yet. I believe Eminem comes out in 2000.
99 is Money, Cash, Hoes, Nigga What, Nigga Who. I mean, like these are smash records. This is hard to put back together too because Jay-Z also would be on mixtapes, on other people's records. There was a period of time when it's like, the nigga, does he ever leave the studio? Because he's constantly hitting you with hot shit. And this is not like, he's the greatest. He's the best fucking guy.
I think year by year, he was the best guy, but year by year, things change because if he's the guy 99, 2000, 2001, by 2002, it's Eminem then 50. Eminem's happening at this. He even, who's got the most sell? M, Pimp, Juice, and Us.
So let's
right?
distinguish. Let's distinguish Heat, which 50 had all the heat in the world.
No, don't minimize. Here's the thing that happens. No. Let's. I want to, before you even say that, because I know where you're going with this. Because you just talked about how big his records were. You just talked about how big Jay-Z records had in 1999. So who's that? And now we're gonna try to diminish 50 Cent's biggest records ever.
I'm not diminishing. I was trying to see where Jay-Z. What was the moment that Jay-Z broke through to a higher level? I still don't remember. What is the song that made me and many others say, oh, that's the best MC in the game? I'm still trying to piece together when that was, and I need to look more deeply at the record, the history, to see when was it that we said, no, it's him? Because there was definitely a period when I was like, it's Rakim. So something happened in my mind that was like, oh, he's surpassed Rakim, because that's an incredibly high bar, and I don't know where that is. I'm not diminishing anything. I'm saying 50 Cent had all the heat in the world as an artist. Everybody was paying attention to him, but nobody was thinking about him as the greatest rapper in the game. He was never in that conversation. DMX was in that conversation. Who's the other person you said?
Eminem.
No, Eminem for sure was in that conversation because of the dexterity and the complexity and the way he thought. But nobody.
And he made 2 classic records right back to back. Just
you didn't think about 50 for that. Like, we love 50. He might be your favorite guy, but he was never on the objective top 5 list of any serious person. Eminem was, and I'm trying to. I need to go back and piece together what was the moment that Jay-Z became the guy. Because you're saying it was in the late 90s.
No, early 2000s is what I said. Like, I think 2000.
But if he was number 1 in 99, then it was in the 90s.
No, I just think he was I just think that New York bias, number 1, yeah. But isn't Juvenile 99 too, and Cash Money 99? So
we were talking about the best rapper ever, nigga. What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
But I'm talking about...
You talk about the GOAT, nigga. What are you talking about?
2000? No, I'm thinking about all the things around there. And DMX is still in the conversation in 99, because 98 was DMX's year, and he took everybody out in 98. DMX took every single person out in 98, and Jay-Z sold 5 million records. And DMX was still being heralded as, hey, no, he might be the guy. And they battled before, all that type of stuff. So X versus J was really a thing. You knew that. You know that. You're from New York. X and J was a thing, right?
No, for sure. But I mean, Jay was so much more lyrical and so much better flow that it was like, yes, we love X. He is the heart of the hood. He is raw ego and emotion, like, just put on the fucking record, and he could just fucking talk and freak you out. But this nigga is a fucking rappinest nigga you ever fucking seen. The flows, the fucking spit, the double and triple entendres. He was telling us about the drug game through a lyrical miracle sort of overlay from like album 1 and 2 and shit. Like, album 1,
we'll get into this.
My brother shot me. You're like, oh, this nigga is real. Number 2, really, like,
you're really
like, this nigga is everything. Like,
that's you being a fan, man.
I'm not, nigga. This nigga was the shit. I'm trying to unpack because he starts off being real and he wants to become pop. And by volume 2, Can I Get It is a pop record. Money Cash Hose, even with DMX, is a pop record. We're trying to go to a pop level. He wanted to be rich and pop and famous, but we'd
Yes.
already thought of him as an incredible MC from like 22 twos and shit from before, and like
Yeah, but he's
mixtape
not
shit, and
the
like
best. Nas still exists at that time, so he was not the best. But anyways, let's dead that. Let me read some of these super chats, and it's already 1 hour and 40 minutes in. We're already talking about the best rappers, and this is a whole nother episode for people. So let me get some of these chats in there. Best rapper from Chicago is Lupe, big only rapper with 2 top 5 all-time caliber albums. No, that's a whole entire lie. I think Kendrick is an exceptional artist, but he is not as influential as Pac and Biggie, even probably Wayne. I can see why you're saying that. I can see why you're saying that. Now the Biggie one, not so much, but the Pac one I can agree with, and Wayne,
Yeah.
it's too many Lil Waynes out there. But Biggie's influence did kind of stop after a while, if we're gonna be real about it. Top 5 rappers by city would be a good video topic. That's a cool topic. 98.
Hold on, I got one from D Perry that I've been looking at for a minute. Drake didn't bother me before, although I never actively sought out his music. Now with the lawsuit and corporateness of it all, hatred has emerged because, dude, what are you doing? This is hip hop.
Yeah, I read that one. K-Dot and Hove are 1 and 2 for me. Just depends on the day. Honestly, I'm just happy to be alive to see it. Been listening since Overly Dedicated. Toure, the child actor part, is another piece of relevant context. Facts. 98 to 2000-ish was DMX. After that, it was Ja Rule. After that, it is Nelly. Then M and 50. Jay was kind of number 2 at all times.
Ja Rule was never considered the greatest rapper of fucking Queens, much less fucking
People
America.
conflate popularity with greatness sometimes.
Ja Rule was the hottest guy in the game. 50 was the hottest guy in the game.
Nelly was hot.
Not that right, but none of these people were in the number one conversation that we're talking about. That was Jay-Z.
You got to be able to rap.
Pac and Big were in that conversation. Trying to think who else was in that conversation. Like, you could still bring up Rakim, you could still bring up KRS-One, but like, I'm trying to think who out of the West Coast was really in it hard. Talking
Scarface was a contender in the South. Snoop Dogg was. People used to say that Snoop Dogg couldn't rap, but Snoop Dogg would freestyle all the time. And Snoop Dogg was definitely in that conversation. So let's not act like he wasn't.
Scarface definitely got mentioned some for sure.
Yeah.
I think.
And then moving into that space was like a 3000 was becoming a part of that conversation individually and Outkast in general. Then later on, when T.I. had his run with King and stuff,
T.I. helped
bring a lot of Wayne. So
sure,
it all happens that way. But we're gonna end it here. We're gonna finish this. We're gonna finish this conversation
all day about this
easily. That's how we got into this conversation. But we're gonna end it right here. We're gonna be back tomorrow with another episode. Spam the chat with whatever you might want us to talk about tomorrow, but there'll probably be some news. There'll probably be some news anyways that we're gonna talk about. This thing never stops, man. It never stops.
We out.
All right, we out.